Okay, let's dive in. We've got some fascinating source material today that really gets at a core paradox, one that I think a lot of people wonder about.
Right.
How can the same brain be, so brilliant at logic and systems, but at the same time struggle so much with the messiness of social emotion?
And the thing is, researchers don't really frame this as a broken system. It's more of a fundamental trade-off in the hardware itself.
A trade-off.
Exactly. We're going to be digging into the physical basis for the empathizing systemizing theory.
Which is the idea that in ASD, there's a strong cognitive tilt, a preference for analyzing rules. That's the systemizing part.
Over understanding other people's mental states.
Exactly.
Empathizing. And our mission here is to find the neuroanatomy, the actual brain structure behind that tilt.
So we're looking for physical proof. Is the logic brain literally built stronger? Do the sources actually show that?
They absolutely do. We see something called structural hypertrophy.
You mean it's physically bigger?
Yes. Increased volume, increased thickness, specifically in the posterior regions of the brain. So the parietal and occipital cortices.
The parts of the brain that handle visual processing and spatial reasoning.
Right. They are physically fortified. And that structure supports what's called short-range hyperconnectivity.
Like having super dense, super fast local wiring.
Precisely. That's what gives you that superior attention to detail, that ability for veridical mapping. Seeing the world exactly as it is without a social filter.
And isn't there that incredible detail about how the brain reroutes tasks?
Yes. Get this. The autistic brain often recruits visual cortex areas, like Brodmann areas 18 and 19, to handle abstract logic tasks.
So instead of using language centers, it's seeing the patterns.
It's using its strongest, most reinforced systems to see the code behind everything.
Okay, that explains the logic brain. But now let's flip to the emotional brain, the limbic system, which often looks, quiet. Is it just underdeveloped?
Or is it overloaded? That's the core idea behind the intense world theory.
The IWT.
Right. The theory suggests that the low activity you see in places like the amygdala, it's a defense mechanism. It's a defensive downregulation.
So it's not that the system is inert.
No, not at all. It's that the system is actually hyperreactive. It's so prone to overwhelming sensory and emotional input that retreating into controllable logical systems becomes a survival strategy.
And the brain's development actually shows this. There's that paradox where the amygdala often overgrows in toddlers with ASD.
Correlating with intense anxiety, yes.
And then the growth just stops or even reverses, leading to a smaller volume in adults. It's like the system screams and then just shuts itself off.
And if you connect the dots, the root problem is the connection between these two worlds.
Between logic and emotion.
Yes. That incredible short-range hyperconnectivity we talked about, it comes at a cost. And the cost is poor long-range hypoconnectivity. The local roads are amazing, but the highways connecting different brain regions are underdeveloped.
So even if both systems are fine on their own, they can't talk to each other effectively. Is there a key anatomical failure point?
It really comes down to a specific tract called the uncinate fasciculus.
That's the big one.
It's the emotional superhighway. It's a massive bundle of white matter connecting the amygdala, the emotion center, directly to the orbitofrontal cortex, your decision-making hub.
And when that's compromised?
The brain literally, structurally, cannot integrate emotional value into logical decision-making.
And why? What's the biological reason that highway doesn't get built properly?
It seems to be tied to a really fundamental process, synaptic pruning, or rather a deficit in it.
Where the brain fails to trim back unnecessary connections during development.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pathways like mTOR are involved, and when that pruning fails, the brain is left cluttered with all this short-range wiring. This makes it almost impossible for the subtle, long-distance signals of social emotion to get through all that noise. The emotional brain is basically starved of reliable data.
So, to bring it all home for you, the listener, that incredibly well-developed logic brain isn't just a feature of ASD. It's also a powerful coping mechanism. It's a safe operating mode, built on reinforced hardware for a system that experiences the world as almost unbearably intense.
Which leaves us with a final, really provocative question. If all this systemizing is biologically driven by a need to control for variance, to control for that emotional intensity, then maybe our whole approach needs to shift.
How so?
Well, what if interventions focus less on trying to force social engagement and more on improving the brain's underlying tolerance for that variance, helping the system feel safe enough to come online in the first place?
If you are in a neurodiverse marriage where one spouse is autistic and the other one is not, and you've been struggling for years and years, and you're kind of sick and tired of the routine, talk to me. Use me as your personal coach. I have groups, and I keep these groups small so that you can get a lot of one-on-one attention. I have 3 Q&A groups, one for ASD husbands, one for neurotypical wives, and I have a couples group where both spouses can attend. I also have 2 instructional groups, Cassandra Syndrome Recovery Group, to help you cultivate some strategies to recover from years of emotional deprivation, and the Men's Masterclass, in which we take a deep dive on developing social skills and emotional literacy in the context of the neurodiverse marriage. We meet 1 hour a week for 4 weeks. So how much longer are you willing to wait?